Hare Krishna.
Hare.
I welcome all of you to our Bhagavad Gita class. We are on chapter 12. The objective of this class is to enable reading of the shlok, to understand the meaning of the shlok, and to help understand the basic philosophy of Gita. Today we'll be starting chapter 12. As we know that in Gita there are 18 chapters, and these 18 chapters are divided into three parts. The first six parts, where Krishna talks about Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga, and Dhyan Yoga. The next six section, which is from 7th to 12th, is called Bhakti Yoga, where Krishna talks about Bhakti. And the last one from 13 to 18, it's called 17 actually is called Gyan Yoga, and 18th is the summary of the entire Gita. Now, this can be compared with a jewel box. The first six chapter is just like a top lid of a jewel box, and the last six chapter is like the bottom lid of the jewel box, and the middle six chapters is like the jewels which is placed inside the jewel box. That is Bhakti Yoga. And why it is so important, why it is jewel and it is most confidential, because this is the section where Krishna reveals himself. He talks about who he is, he talks about himself, and how and who we are and how we can come. So basically this is the most important part and most confidential part of Gita, and that is why it is kept in between two sections, that is first to six and 13 to 12. Yeah. So today we are on chapter 12, which is the last section of Bhakti Yoga, and the chapter is also called Bhakti Yoga or devotional service. Now this chapter has got four sections. The first section is the chapter starts with Arjun inquiring who is better, whether it's a personalist or an impersonalist. That is how the chapter starts. Followed by the second section from 2 to 7, where Krishna explains about personalist and impersonalist and the result of it. Now, 8th to 12 is about progressive stage of bhakti, and the 13 to 12 talks about qualities that endear one to Lord Krishna. So the qualities of a devotee that is very, very dear to Lord Krishna is what will be talked about from 13 to 20. And then we'll end the chapter by the glories of chapter 12 from Pad Puran. This is the way we follow. Today, we'll try to complete 12.1, the Arjun's inquiry, and from 2 to 7. That's what we will try to address in today's class. Before we start, let us quickly look at the summary of the last class. In the last class, last section chapter that we have studied is chapter 11, where Arjun asked Krishna to show his universal form. And what did Krishna do? He gave the divine eyes to Arjun, which can enable Arjun to see his divine forms. And then he showed his universal form, and in that universal form Arjun could see unlimited faces, unlimited arms, unlimited bellies, unlimited wonderful visions, holding weapons, wearing beautiful celestial garlands and garments, ornaments, and the form was excellent, brilliant, infinite, all expanding in all directions. And Arjun sitting in that chariot in front from Krishna, he could see the universal form all pervading across all sides. Yeah. And then he could see that the effulgence that was coming out was as if thousands of suns have risen together. That was the effulgence that was there. And then he could also see the Kal Roop in the universal form. The Kal Roop is basically the form of time, where not only the present and the past, Arjun could also see the future, and he could see that of this universal form there was no origin, no middle, no end. He could see blazing fire coming out from Krishna's mouth, and he could see that everything was getting inside, that he was actually devouring everything. And he could also see all the sons of Dhritarashtra. He could also see Drona, Bhishpitama, Karna, Jayata. Everyone is getting eaten as if the rivers is flowing towards ocean. Similarly, everything was being devoured in the mouth of Krishna. And seeing this, Arjun became fearful. Arjun, who was a hero, who was the example of valiant, valor. He became fearful, seeing the form of Krishna, seeing that all of them are now it's a blazing fire, and then he actually bowed down to Krishna and started pleading to Krishna that please tell me who you are and what is your mission. So Krishna says, I am time, and I have come to destroy everything. Whatever you are seeing, Arjun, I'm going to destroy everything except for Pandavas, you and few others. In this battlefield, everything will be actually finished. And then he said, "O Sabyasachi, O Arjun, just be an instrument in my hand. It's anyway going to happen, and be an instrument in my hand and take the glory of winning this whole war." And then Arjun became very fearful and pleaded to Krishna, Krishna, please excuse me, I have treated you like my friend, my I have shared food with you, I have slept with you, and I have somehow misbehaved with you for all those things. Please excuse me, and I am frightened to see this universal form of yours. Please come back to your four-handed form. And then Krishna happily said, because of your request, I showed you this form. And then from the universal form, having thousands of arms and thousands of bellies and thousands of mouth, he came back into the four-handed form, the Narayan form. And from there, he came to the two-handed form of Krishna. And in the last three shlokas that happened, then Krishna says, the form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas. Just a minute. Simply by studying the Vedas, nor by doing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. By none of these means you can see the way I am. And then he says, my dear Arjun, the only way you can actually see me like this is by your undivided devotional service. That is how I can be understood. And then he says, he who engages in my pure devotional service, mat karmakrit, mat parmo, mat bhakta, sangha varjita, nirvaira, sarvabhuteshu, yasa mameti pandava. That was the last slok of 11th chapter, which said that those who are engaged in my pure devotional service, free from the contamination of this material world, and he who works for me and makes me as a final goal for them, and who is friendly to every living being, he certainly comes to me. And this is how the chapter 11 ended. Now, let's look at chapter 12, the first slok. Who is better yogi, personalist or impersonalist? This is the first question. So 12.1 is we start. Arjunuvacha. एवं सतत युक्ताये भक्तास्त्वां पर्युपासते ये चाप्य अक्षरम अव्यक्तम तेषां के योग वित्तमः अर्जुनवाच एवं सतत युक्ताये भक्तास्त्वां पर्युपासते ये चापक्षरम अव्यक्तम तेषां के योग वित्तमः अर्जुन उवाच एवं सतत युक्ताये भक्तास्त्वां पर्युपासते ये चापि अक्षरम् अव्यक्तम् तेषां के योग वित्तमः. So now Arjun Uvacha, Arjun said, what does he say? Evam satat yukta. Satat is always. Yukta is connected, always connected. Ye means those. Bhakta, those devotees. Twam, to you. Parupasate is always worshipping to you. So those devotees who are always worshipping to you and always connected to Satatam Yukta, they are connected to you. Those, cha or ye or those, the other one, apya aksharam. Aksharam is something which is avinashi, which cannot be destroyed, which is impersonal Brahma. Those which is aksharam, avyaktam, which cannot be vyakt, which cannot be seen, which cannot be manifested. Avyakt is which cannot be manifested. Tesham, among those two, someone who is a devotee bhakta, and those who worship the impersonal Brahm. Tesham, out of those two, Ke yoga vittama. Out of that, who is yoga vittama? Yoga with is yoga with good, yoga vittara is better, and yoga vittama is better best. Who is the best yogi? Who is the best yogi? Yogi means yogi is connected to God. So who is intimately connected to you? Someone who is a bhakta, who is worshipping your personal form, or someone who is actually doing your wish doing is connected to your impersonal brahma, right? So that is what the question which Arjun asks. Now, who is a personalist, and let's understand that. So personalist is a one who actually prays to the personal form of Krishna, the physical form of Krishna. The one who prays to that, worship that, is a personalist. Yeah, is a Dvait, like they worship that. And who is a impersonalist? Impersonalist is one who worships the Brahma, that is the impersonal Brahma. Yeah, he and what is the, so that is one is the impersonalist, right? So this is the, now impersonal Brahma is basically the Brahma Jyoti, right? That is the one, that is what, who is impersonalist. So basically the Bhakti yogis are personalist, and the Jnana yogis are the category of impersonalist. Now here, a very important word is yoga with tama. Arjun is asking who is the best, who is not good or better, who is the best among these two is what he is asking, right? But both are good because both are in the path of finally going to Krishna. But which is the best, right? So we know yoga, and what we have, yoga is basically connection to the God. Now it all depends upon how you are connected. If you are connected to God, Krishna, by doing your activity, karma yoga, then that is by karma, then that is called karma yogi. Those who are called karma yogi. When you are connected by gyan, it is a gyan yogi. When you are connected by dhyan, it's a dhyan yogi, and by bhakti is a bhakti yogi, right? Now what we'll see is, since Arjun is asking, why is Arjun asking this question? Why is Arjun asking this question? Who is better? Because Arjun is anyway praying to Krishna. He is worshipping to Krishna. So let us see. And since we are talking about personalists, let us see how what all we have read in Gita, where Krishna has already talked about his personal form, and what he has related to us. Yeah. So just like in the last chapter, 11th chapter, the 54th shlok, right? There, Krishna said, "Bhaktya tva ananya shakya ahame vam vidhu Arjuna gyatum dishtum chatan tatvena prevashtum cha parantapa." He says, my dear Arjun, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am. And Arjun, what is Krishna? Krishna is a physical form. He's a personal, right? So he's saying I can be understood as I am. As Krishna, you can only understand me by devotion, undivided, Ananya Bhakti. Ananya Bhakti only can see me, right? So here he's talking about the personal form of Krishna. He's addressing to himself as I am, standing before you, and you can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. This is what he said in the last chapter. 54. The 55th shlok that we just read, he says, Mat karma krit mat parmo mat bhakta sanga varjita nirvehra sarvabhuteshu yasa mameti pandita. He says, my dear Arjun, he who engages in my pure devotional service, free from contamination of fruitive activities and mental speculation, he who works for me. Me is the physical form of Krishna, right? The personalist form, the personal, yeah. Who makes me the supreme God. He's not talking about makes X, Y, Z. He's talking about, he's telling about himself, who is standing in front of Arjun. He's talking about himself, may the supreme goal of life, and who is friendly to everything. He certainly comes to me. And me is again Krishna. So this is again about the personal form of Krishna. In the 10th chapter, Krishna has told, Aham sarvasya prabhuvo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante ma buddha bhava samhita. He said, Aham sarvasya prabhuvo. Aham is I. Sarvasya is everything. Prabhu is the everything starts from me. I'm the source. Prabhu is source. I'm the source of everything. Matta sarvam pravartate. From me, everything emanates. Everything comes from me. Iti matva. Those who knows that and who believes it. Bhajante mam. Those who worship me. Again, me is the physical form of Krishna. Buddha. They are the Buddha bhava samanvita. It means I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly knows, they engage in my devotional service and worship me in all their hearts. Only those who understand that and believe me, Krishna, as the Supreme Lord, they only will engage in the devotional service to me. And then in the ninth stroke of 10th chapter, he says, Mat chitta madgat prana bodhayanta paraspara katyantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. He says, the thoughts of my pure devotee always dwell in me. My pure devotee, they're always thinking about me. And not only whenever they meet together, they talk about me. Bodhayanti paraspara. Whenever they're meeting, what is their talks? It is about me. And what do I do? They converse about me, they talk about me. And what do I do to them? What do I do? He says in the 10th slok, Tesham satat yuktanam bhajantam priti purvak. Tesham, those who are talking to me and praying, worshipping me, satatam yuktanam, always connected to me, bhajatam, and praying to me priti purvakam, with love. Dadami buddhi yogam, to what do? I give them the intelligence. I give them the intelligence. What to do to what? Tam yena maupantite, so that they can come to me. So when they are, what we are doing devotional service. We are just doing prayers. Shranam, Kirtam, Vishnu Smaranam, right? So what Krishna does? He gives us the intelligence so that we can come to him. And then in the conclusion of the ninth chapter, we talked about again the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Man manabhav mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame veshyasi yukte tvam atmanam parayanam. He says, engage your mind, always thinking of me. Become my devotee. Offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. Again, every time he is referring to himself as a Krishna, as a person, right? Then he says in the 8th chapter, he says very important shlok. He says, Ananya cheta satatam yo mam sparanti nityasha tasyaham sulabha partha nitya yuktasya yogina. For one, Ananya cheta satatam. Satatam is again always. Ananya cheta means without any without any deviation. And those who are always remembering me, what will happen? Tasyaham sulabham partha. Oh Parth, oh Arjun, for them I am very easy to get achieved, right? And then Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalera ya prayanti samadbhavam yanti nastishad. He says, whoever at the end of life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once they'll attain me. Right? Now, how can someone remember Krishna before leaving the body? Is it possible? Is it only possible when you are actually in your life, in your daily life, you're practicing remembering of Krishna. And how do we do that? We do by chanting every day. When we chant, Prabhupada has told, chant minimum 16 rounds. Why has this discipline has been set up in our life? Because when you do that, your tongue get used to chanting the holy name. And anytime, even if you're walking, you'll keep on chanting. He says, keep on chanting always. Only when you are in that mode, only if you have that practice, then only it's possible that when you die, you can take the name of Krishna at the end, right? Similarly, there are a lot of shloks which Krishna has been telling himself, addressing himself and telling to Arjun, right? Now, especially the 4th shlok, he says, in the 4th chapter, he says, Janma Karmcha Me Divya, my birth and my activities are all Divya. My appearance and my activities are Divyam, they're divine. And Yo Veti Tatvada, and those who can understand that, what will happen? Tektva Deham Punarjanma, those who will leave their body, they will never come back again to this material world. Now, all these things Arjun had been hearing from Krishna, right? But Krishna also talked about Gyan. In the 9th chapter, in the 9th shlok, he says, Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukrito arjuna arto jigyasu arthati gyani cha bhadrajava. He says, 4 types of people worship me, come to me, actually worship me. Who are those? Arto, Jigyasi, Artharti and Gyani. They are the 4 who actually worship me. Who are those? Arto is those who are in distress. Those who are distressed, they will come running to Krishna. Jigyasu, who are inquisitive. Artharthi means those who want wealth, and those who are jnani, they will come to me. And then next shlok to this, Krishna says, Tesham jnani nityukta ek bhakti vishishyate priyo hi jnaninotyartham sachamam priya. And of this, one who is full of knowledge, the jnanis, they are most dear to me. Now, there are other shloks about Gyan, and especially in the 8th chapter, Krishna says, Om ityekaksharam brahma vyaharam mam anusmaran yah prayati tyaj deham yah piyati param gatim. He says, after being situated in yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme commercial, if one thinks about me and leaves the body, then he will actually reach the spiritual parents. Now, Arjun is a bit confused listening to, he has been talking about devotional service, but he also talked about Gyan and Gyani. So he wanted to be very clear. Arjun wanted to be very clear about his position, because he is attached to Krishna, and Krishna has talked about Gyan, and also, from Gyani you can get liberated. So he wants to be very clear that what is better, please confirm to me, right? Now we go to the next shlok. श्रीभगवानुवाच
श्रीभगवानुवाच
मया आवेश्य मनो ये माम् नित्ययुक्ता उपासते श्रद्धया पर्युपेतास्ते मे युक्ततमा मतः। श्रीभगवानुवाच मया आवेश्य मनो ये माम् नित्ययुक्ता उपासते श्रद्धया पर्युपेतास्ते मे युक्ततमा मतः।
श्रीभगवानुवाच
मया वेश्य मनो ये माम्
नित्ययुक्ता
उपासते
श्रद्धया
पर्योपेतास्
ते मे
युक्ततमा मतः। So Shri Bhagwan Vacha. Arjuna asked who is best, and Bhagwan Krishna says, Maya Aveshya Mano Ye Mam. Maya is to me. Avesh is fixed. Mano is mind. Ye Mam. Those whose minds are fixed on Mam is me, to me, on me. And not only fixed their mind in me, but Nitya Yukta Upasate. Nitya Yukta. Always they are doing my Upasate worship. Shraddha. And how are they doing the worship? Shraddhaya, by full faith. Paryopetas. And it is not only Shraddha, full faith. It is in the highest order, highest degree of faith, the transcendental faith. They may, I, Yukta Tamamata, I consider them as the greatest. So here, let's read the translation by Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be the most perfect. Right? So what he has replied, Krishna, who is the most perfect? Whether a person who prays to the personal form or someone who prays to impersonal Brahm. So Krishna says it is basically the one who worships my personal form is the highest yogi, is the bhakti yogi who is the highest, right? So yeah, that's important. So now let's go to the next shlok. ये त्वम् अक्षरम् अनिर्देश्यम् अव्यक्तं पर्युपासते सर्वत्र गमचिन्त्यं च कूटस्थम् अचलं ध्रुवम् सन्नियामेन्द्रियग्रामम् सर्वत्र समबुद्धय ते प्राप्नुवन्ति मामेव सर्वभूतहिते रतः ये तो अक्षरम् अनिर्देश्यम्
Eva aksharam anadeshyam.
Avyaktam paryupasate.
Avyaktam paryupasate.
Sarvatra gam achintyam.
Sarvatra gamachintyam
Cha Kutastham achalam dhruvam.
Kutastham achalam dhruvam
Sanyam yendriya gramam.
Sanyam yendriya gramam
Sarvatra samabuddhayah.
Sarvatra samabuddhayah
Te prapnuvanti mameva.
Te prapnuvanti mameva
Sarvabhuta hite rataha.
Sarvabhuta hite ratah Etva aksharam anideshyam
Yetva aksharam anideshyam.
Avyaktam paryupasate
Avyaktam paryupasate.
Sarvatra gam achintyam cha
Sarvatra gam achintyam cha.
Kutastham achalam dhruvam
Kutastham achalam dhavam.
Sanniyamendri gramam
Sanyamendriya gramam.
Sarvatra samabuddhayah
Sarvatra samabuddhaya.
Te prapnuvanti mam eva
Te prapnuvanti mameva.
Sarvabhuta hite ratah
Sarvabhuta hite rataha. So now Krishna says, Ye, those, tva aksharam. Aksharam is avinashi, those who are beyond the senses, something which is impersonal Brahma, which you can't see, right? Anirdeshyam, which you cannot be given which is indefinite. Anirdeshyam is, you cannot give a nirdesh to it. You cannot give a, something which doesn't have a form, anirdeshyam. Avyaktam. Avyaktam is again which is unmanifested. It doesn't have a roop. It is unmanifested. Paryupasate. Paryupasate is those who worship them. Sarvatragam. Sarvatragam is all pervading. The Brahma is all pervading. Achintyam. Achintyam is cannot be conceived. Cannot be conceived. Kutastham. Kutastham is unchanging. Kutastham is unchanging. Achalam. Achalam is immovable. And Dhruvam is fixed. So now, the first question that Arjun had asked, he had only given two characteristics of impersonal Brahma. He had told it is, what is the two characteristics? He say Aksharam and Aksharam and Avyaktam. That is, he has asked that Bhakta and Aksharam, which is better. That is what he has asked. Now here, Krishna, from two, he gave 6 more examples of impersonal Brahma. Impersonal Brahma is basically the effulgence of the God. If you remember, we had talked about absolute truth is basically one. And that is what Krishna is trying to tell in this shlok. Absolute truth is actually one. It is in 3 different forms. As per Bhagavatam, it is Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, and Bhagwan. They are the 3 different levels of absolute truth. Right? So what happens, and all of us has a different level of we all are in a journey, we all are in a spiritual journey. Based on our understanding or based on where we are in our spiritual journey, we actually get attached to that form. Right? So it is the Brahmati is basically the effulgence of the Krishna. The effulgence that you see is the Brahma. Then when you say the next is Paramatmeti, which is the super soul in the hearts of everyone, and Bhagwan is the supreme. And we talked about how, when you are in an aeroplane and when you are going to land, what happens? You are seeing a mountain, far mountain, and you can only see a green color, greenish there, right? And that is basically, and when you come down, when you are coming closer, then you can see in the mountain, you can see some some huts and some trees, something you can see there. And when you come more closer, you can see people there. Yeah, so there are 3 levels. Based on where we are, we can actually see these 3 levels. Either, so if when we are far away, we can only see the effulgence of Krishna. When we get a bit closer, then we can understand the super soul, the Parama, which is a partial representation of Bhagwan. We can see that. When we come very close, when we can see the human beings, then we are actually seeing the Bhagwan form. So it all depends where we are. So now he is talking about now here Krishna, what he did, he gave 8 characteristics of impersonal Brahm. Impersonal Brahm is not only Aksharam and Avyaktam. Aksharam is basically Abhinashi, or it is beyond your senses, beyond our senses, or Avyaktam, which cannot be manifested. It is also Anideshyam. Anideshyam is basically which cannot be, what do you call it? It is cannot be seen, cannot be seen properly, or it is indefinite, is anideshyam. And then avyaktam is unmanifested. Sarvatragam is which is all pervading. Achintyam is inconceivable, and kutastham is basically unchanging, it is fixed. And achalam is immovable, and thruma. So he gave eight basically the eight characteristics. Then the next third line he says Sanyam Indriya Gramam. Sanyam is basically controlling. Sanyam, we call it Sanyam, right? Sanyam is controlling. What to control? Indriya Gramam, all the senses. Now he is talking about the characteristics of the sadhak, characteristics of the person who actually does a worship of the impersonal Brahm. What they have to do? Sanyam Indriya Gramam. They have to control all their senses. Then sarvatra sambuddhya, and they are sambuddhya. They look, see everything at some equal. And then sarva bhuta hite rata. The last line, you see the second part. Sarva bhuta hite rata. Sarva bhuta is basically all living entities. Bhut hite rata. Hite is for the good. Rata is engaged, and they are always engaged in doing good for all living entities. And he says the last line, he says te prapnuvanti mameva. They also achieve me. They also achieve me. So he says, whether it's a personalist, impersonalist, he says personalist is better, is highest, but even the person who is worshipping the impersonal Brahm will also achieve me. It is not that he's going to achieve something else. It means he's also trying to say that the effulgence and Bhagwan, the personal form and the impersonal form, that is basically of the, it's basically different levels of the same thing. Right? So there are the three different levels, as we clear. So it is the effulgence of the, is the, like when you are very far, you can only see the effulgence, which is impersonal Brahm. Then it is the super soul in your heart, and then the Bhagwan, which is the ultimate. So the Bhakti yogis, they actually get attached to the Bhagwan form, and the impersonalists, they get attached to the effulgence, which is impersonal Brahma form. Right? Now, why someone gets attached to the impersonal Brahm but not doubt Krishna, or does not get attached to the personal form? Why someone gets attached to the thing? They doubt the very personality of Krishna. They think, okay, he looks like human. Must be he's a hero, or must be a very, must have been endowed by some special powers. So because of which he is able to do all those things. So those people who actually do the worship the impersonal Brahm, they find it difficult to accept Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. So Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, he says, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya. Naham Prakasha Sarvasya. Naham, no aham. I don't Prakasha Sarvasya. I don't show myself to everyone. Yoga Maya Samavrita. I am covered. Yoga Maya Samavrita. Samavrita is covered. I am covered by Yoga Maya. Yoga Maya is my internal potency. I cover myself by my internal potency. Mudhoyam na abhijanati. Those who are foolish, na abhijanati. They will never know me. Loko mam ajanvam. That I am Ajam and Avyam. That I am the supreme personality of God. They will not know, because they are mudhas. So they don't have that intelligence to understand that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and they can attach to Krishna. So what? Based on their level, they get attached to the impersonal Brahma, right? So here in this shlok, Krishna is saying, so a question can be asked that, okay, when a personalist, a bhakti yogi, is attached to the Krishna and gets to Krishna, and also even a person who is worshipping the impersonal Brahma, he also gets. Then what is the difference, right? So let us read the next shlok, which is 12.5. क्लेशोऽधिकतरस्तेषां Avyakta asakta chetasam.
Avyaktasaktachetasam.
Avyakta hi gatir dukkha.
Avyaktahi gatirdukkha.
Dehavadbhirvapyate.
Tavadbhiravapyate.
Kleshodhiktarastesham.
Keshodikatastesham.
Avyakta asakta chetasam.
Yaktasaktachetasam.
Avyakta hi gatir dukkham.
Avyaktahi gatirdukkha.
Dehavadbhirvapyate.
Devadbhiravapyate.
Yeah. So, Mataji, repeat it.
Kleshodikatarastesham.
Kleshodhiktarastesham.
Avyaktasaktachetasam.
Avyakta asakta chetasam.
Avyaktahi gatirdukkam.
Avyakta hi gatir dukkham.
Dehavadbhiravapyate.
Dehavadbhirvapyate. So Krishna says, Klesho adhiktaram tesham. Tesham means to those. To those who are worshipping the impersonal Brahm. What will happen? Klesho means trouble, troublesome. Adhik, lot of trouble. Adhiktara means not adhik, it is adhiktaram. Lot of troubles. They go through lot of taram. Why? Because avyakta asakta chetasam. Avyakt means unmanifested. It doesn't have a form. It is an effulgence. It doesn't have a form. It is not manifested. Yeah? Avyakta is unmanifested, and asakt means attachment. Asakt is not attached. Chetasam is it's basically the consciousness connection, right? Avyakta hi gatir dukkham. Because it is unmanifested, someone you are worshipping which is unmanifested, what will happen? They'll have lot of dukh, lot of difficulty, lot of dukh. Dehavat bhir vyapate. So those who are, so we all human beings are embodied. The soul is embodied in a body. So we all are dehadhari. What are we? We are dehadhari. So because we are dehadhari, in general we can relate to something which is personal, but to attach to something which is impersonal, which is imagination, which is avyakt, anideshya, it is it is very very difficult to get attached to it, and that process is very very troublesome. Krishna says both will get me, but what will happen? That path, someone who is trying to get attached, it is very very difficult to get attached. So there is no attachment. There is no attachment. So what is the process that is followed? If you look at the last slok, Krishna says Sanyam Indriya Gramam. We control the senses. You have to control all the senses, right? So what does the person who the worshippers of impersonal Brahm do? They control all their senses, and controlling always is extremely difficult. And you cannot really attach to something which is avyakt. So Krishna says that path of achieving impersonal Brahm, getting even to that, is extremely difficult comparing to a bhakti yogi, because you can see the personal form, you can get attached to it, you don't have to really control your senses. What do? You engage your senses. You're not controlling what you're doing, you are engaging all your senses in the worship of God. You are using your eyes to look at the beautiful form of the God. You are using your hands to decorate the God. You are using your hands to cook prasadam for the God. You are using your ears to hear beautiful things about the songs of the God. You are using your nose to smell the beautiful flowers, fragrance of the God, agarbatti of the God. You are using your tongue to say to speak the glory of the God, sing the bhajan. Yeah. So because we are dehadhari, it is very very easy for us to engage our senses to something which we can also see as personal and can relate to it. So what happens? We get attached to it. A bhakti yogi gets attached to it, and when you get attached to it, there's a relationship that exists between the two. But when you are a worshipper of impersonal Brahm, you are actually controlling your senses. You are controlling your senses, which Krishna says is extremely difficult, because the person is a dehadhari. And for a dehadhari to attach something which is unmanifested is extremely troublesome, and the whole process is very difficult, right? So here I'll tell you the story of Vishwamitra. So we all know about the story of Vishwamitra. He's a great sage. He's not only a great sage, he's a Brahma Rishi. He's a Brahma Rishi. Yeah. So he was actually a king. Vishwamitra was a king. And when he, huh? Raj Rishi, Brahma Rishi, Raj Rishi, he's a Raj, right? So Mitra was actually a king. And when he met Vashisht, he was astonished to see the power of Vashisht, and then decided that he will also not become, he'll leave his work as a king, and he will actually go for the Raj Rishi, Brahma Rishi. He'll become that, the highest Rishi, right? So even the Gayatri month is actually given by Vishwamitra. But the journey that he took to become the Raj Rishi or Brahma Rishi was extremely difficult. And in that, what he did, he was doing the penance. He was controlling all his senses. And when he was doing extreme austerity, what happened? Indra became scared. Indra always gets scared that whoever is doing austerity, that they are doing austerity to take my kingdom, his position. So he became very scared, and what he did, he sent Menaka. To distract Vishwamitra. And what happened? Although Vishwamitra, that is again his journey. That was not the end. It was his journey, because it's difficult to control your senses. So although he had reached that stage where Indra could become scared of his power. But then what happened? He had sent Menaka, who was basically the beautiful Apsara. And then Vishwamitra got distracted. And he also had a daughter from Menaka. And then Menaka revealed the truth that she has been sent to actually to destroy his yoke. And then what happened? He became extremely angry, and then he left Menka and again went back to his penance, and finally he could actually get the position of a Brahma Rishi, and he's the one who gave the Gayatri mantra, which is the most powerful mantra, which helps us to enhance our brain power so that we can understand our scriptures better, right? Om Bhurbhuva, yeah. So this is Vishwamitra was a yogi. So imagine if a sage like Vishwamitra could find it difficult to control his senses, then what about ordinary human beings, right? So Krishna says that they will achieve, but then when will they achieve? There's a shlok in 7th chapter when Krishna explains about the jnani who are actually attached to impersonal Brahma. What happens to them? He says, Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudevam sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. He says, after Bahunam means after many births. Bahunam janmanam ante. Ante is end. Janm, after many at the end of many births, what will happen? Jnanavan, those who are following the path of Jnana, what will they do? Mam prapadyante. Mam is to me. Prapadyante is to surrender. What they'll do? After many births, they will actually surrender unto me. Vasudevam sarvamiti. That Krishna is everything. Sarvam iti. Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. That Mahatma is very rare. Very rare. So what happens is their journey is extremely difficult. I mean, after many births, they will understand that actually, the end of, as Krishna has told in 2nd chapter, that what is the summary of Veda? The summary of Veda is to know Krishna. The summary of the essence of Veda is to know Krishna. So after you have read Vedas, so Jnanis, what they do? They follow the process of reading, learning. They read Vedas, they will read Upanishad, they will hear a lot of lectures. But after many births, they will actually understand, or if they are very lucky and get actually the blessings of a devotee, of a bhakti yoga, then they may get the bhakti lata beach, which can help them to move from jnani to a bhakta. Otherwise, after many readings that they have done and many births, they will understand that Vasudevam sarvamiti, that Vasudeva is actually everything, and sa Mahatma sa durlabha, right? So that is what happens. Now we go to the shlok 12, 6 and 7. ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि
ये सर्वाणि कर्माणि
मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्पराः
मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्पराः
अनन्येनैव योगेन
अनन्येनैव योगेन
मां ध्यायन्त उपासते
मां ध्यायन्त उपासते
तेषाम् अहं समुद्धर्ता
तेषाम् अहं समुद्धर्ता
मृत्युसंसारसागरात्
मृत्युसंसारसागरात्
भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ
भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ
मयावशिष्टचेतसाम्
मयावेशितचेतसाम्
ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि
ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि
मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्पराः
मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्पराः
अनन्येनैव योगेन
अनन्येनैव योगेन
मां ध्यायन्त उपासते
ध्यायन्त उपासते
तेषाम् अहं समुद्धर्ता
तेषामहं समुद्धर्ता
मृत्युसंसारसागरात्
मृत्युसंसारसागरात्
भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ
भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ
मय्यविष्टचेतसाम्
मय्यावेशितचेतसाम् ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि
ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि
मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्परः
मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्परः
अनन्येनैव योगेन
अनन्येनैव योगेन
ध्यायन्त उपासते
मां ध्यायन्त उपासते
तेषाम् अहं समुद्धर्ता
तेषाम् अहं समुद्धर्ता
मृत्युसंसारसागरात्
मृत्युसंसारसागरात्
भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ
भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ
मय्यावेशितचेतसाम्
मयावेशितचेतसाम्. So here Krishna says, but ye tu is but ye, but those sarvani karmani. Sarvani means all. Karmani means activity, all their work. Mai sanyas. Mai is to me. Sanyas is giving up. Matpara and is attached. Matpara is attached to me. So, but those who give up all their so they give up and all their activities is actually attached to me. Ananya neva yogena, and yoga is connected, and how they are connected to me? Ananya yogen, without it, by the undivided attention. Mam dhyayante upasate. Dhyayante is meditating on me, and upasana worshipping me. Tesham aham, to them I samudharta. Samudharta is deliverer. I'm a mrityu sansar sagrat. Mrityu is death. Sansar, birth and death ocean. From this ocean of birth and death, I am a deliverer. And what sort of deliverer I am? Bhavami na chirat partha. Na chirat. A very swift deliverer. Na chirat. Not delay, but faster. Maya veshit chetasam. Whose consciousness is attached to me. So let us read the translation by Srila Prabhupada. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. So Krishna very clearly says that those who follow Bhakti Yoga, those who are pure devotees, those who are worshipping with me with Ananya Bhav, for them I am a swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Yeah, think about Bhishma Pitama, he ensured that Bhishma Pitama gets delivered, right? Then we know that story of Gajendra and the crocodile, right? Moksha. Then very, very important. I'll tell you a story about that from Mahabharat. What happened was, it was the 14th day of fight. Yeah, and Abhimanyu was killed, and Arjun had known that Jayadath is the one who was the main culprit of killing Abhimanyu. He was clear about it now. So he took a vow in the morning. That today, before the sun sets, I will kill Jayadath. Or if not, I will walk in the fire. So the pyre was made ready. Otherwise, I will myself will walk in the fire and kill myself. Now, as soon as this news reached the Kauravas, they were extremely happy. And what did they do? They made the formation of the army so difficult that whatever can happen, Arjun cannot reach Jayadatta. Right? Now, and they were sure, okay, now he has taken a vow, so he will ensure that he walks in the fire and he kills himself. So this is the opportunity for us to ensure today, end of 14th day, Arjun will be no more. So what he did was, and Kauravas, they ensured the type of the formidable formation they made in such a way. If you look, it was like from miles and miles together. You are just seeing the armies. It was just like an ocean of armies. It was just like a ocean of armies, and Arjun fought very fiercely. He fought extremely fiercely, but whatever may happen, he was not able to. It was about to be now in the evening. We know what used to happen in the evening. The war used to stop by the setting of the sun. That was the rule. By the sunset, the war used to end. Right? So whatever may happen, he had been fight. It was almost evening, and Arjun could not find Jayadatta. And then Krishna showed his mercy. What did he do? He took his Sudarshan Chakra and covered the sun. And then Kauravas, there was extremely happiness in the Kaurav side. Thinking, oh, now the sun has set, and what will happen? They started celebrating that now Arjun is going to kill himself. Yeah, they are going to kill himself. And then Krishna and Jayadrat came forward, started dancing, and then Krishna, what he did? Arjun, he just removed the Sudarshan Chakra, and then the sun came and Arjun went and killed. So Krishna ensures, he takes care of his devotees. He ensures that they cross the ocean very nicely. He will always be behind you, just like a child and a mother. A mother, the way that she takes care of a child, infant child, ensuring that all needs are met. So when you are dedicated your life, when you are dedicated your senses, when you are following the devotional service, you can be rest assured that Krishna is behind you and will take care of you to ensure that you pass through this, and will deliver you from this ocean of birth and death. Yeah. So with this, we'll end today's class. So let us chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra 3 times. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.